other aspects. Mainly like a soil. Mainly when we go with the soil, what will get in our brain, children, immediately? What the visual effect in our brain will get it about the soil? Yeah.
The ground, like aesthetically we get like the ground part, we remember it's like powdery, some kind of.
Yeah, we remember about the soil. But what I remember is mainly about the soil. When we discuss about the soil is nothing but it's a main basic thing. For example, when we see the food chain, what is the main for first step for the food chain? What is the first organism we'll observe in the food chain? Whatever is the food chain. Plants. Plants. Where does this plants grow?
The ground soil.
From the ground soil. From the ground soil. Understood? So the main basic for the ecosystem to undergo or to lead the life on the earth, especially we require soil. Because the plants grow from the soil. They'll take nutrients from the soil. They'll take remaining many minerals from the soil. And the roots penetrate inside the soil so that the plant is erect and vertically grows. So not only plants, small saplings, if we'll take small seeds and if we sow the seeds will undergo and small saplings will grow, and these small saplings will grow into plants will grow into trees. Though from the sapling to the big tree, we'll observe that the roots of the plants will tightly hold the soil. Tightly hold the soil. Understood, children? When these plants, when they tightly hold the soil, we'll observe that the capacity of the soil to hold the plant, and when the plant is able to hold the soil, we'll see that the nutrients, how it absorbs the nutrients from the soil. The main transport to absorb the soil, nutrients from the soil is nothing but water. Water plays a major role to transfer the nutrients and the minerals from the soil. Understood? So when we see the introduction part of about the soil, you can see that in India, we are having different different kind of food habits. For example, all we go with cereals and vegetables, that is common. But when we go with the different states, we'll find the different staple food. All these staple foods are from the soil. Directly or indirectly from the soil. Yes or no? So when we discuss about the wheat, when we discuss about the wheat, we'll observe wheat preliminary means at the first we'll observe wheat comes from Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, and major rice states are nothing but it's also Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. All these different states having different staple food. They produce the staple food because of the ability of the soil. Soil itself will select that what crop we need to grow. Is that the capacity of the soil is the same for all the crops? For all the crops? And it also gives that how much yield, the capacity we'll get from the plants is mainly depends upon the soil. If the ability of the soil is not strong, if the ability of the soil is not giving the proper minerals or nutrients to the plants, so that the yield obviously drops out. That's why, first of all, to get a strong yield from the plants or from the, what I can say that from the yield is especially depends upon the soil. Understand? So mainly how this soil So for all these questions, what we have discussed about the yield, the staple crops and staple food of the different state, how they produce, where the wheat is majorly abundantly produced and where the rice is produced. For all these questions, only the one and foremost answer is nothing but the ability of the soil. Soil is varies from one place to the other place. We can't say that all the same kind of soil is present all over. Understood? Based upon the ability, based upon the strength of the soil, the yield is also depends on. So first of all, what do you mean by soil? Soil is the uppermost layer of the earth crust and is usually composed of thin layers of minerals, particles, and a layer of dead and decayed plants and animals remains called humus. Soil is nothing but a thin layer. A mineral, it's composed of mineral particles. It's a uppermost layer of the earth crust and is usually composed of thin layer of mineral particles, and the layer of dead and decaying plants and animals remains called humus. So leave about the secondary concept about that when these humus penetrated inside the soil, how the minerals are formed, how the fossil fuels are formed, that is secondary. When we are talking about the soil, soil is the foremost and first and foremost layer of the earth crust. Because we'll see only that layer, we can't see the beneath layer all the time. When we dig, that is secondary, we'll observe. But when you have seen the soil, we'll see only the upper layer of the soil. We'll observe the soil, layers of the soil. We can't observe all the layers of the soil, but we'll observe the upper layer of the soil and we can see that whether it is red soil, black soil or different colors also we'll observe sometimes. As I have shown you on this slide, we can see that the soil is ready for plantation. Because when they're plowing the soil so that they'll uplift the, they'll uplift the minerals present in it and they'll shuffle the soil so that the minerals also will present on the surface of the soil. So that's why normally they won't dig and they won't sow the seeds. First what they plow it. They'll uplift the minerals, hidden minerals. They'll plow it. So simple example, when your mother prepared a special dish, when your mother wants to serve the dish, what she'll do? She'll twist or she'll uplift the flavor homogeneously to mix up in that entire container. Am I right? So at the same way, the soil itself consists of different minerals. To uplift the minerals, what they'll do? They'll plow it so that we'll find that shuffling of the soil takes place. Very good. It's a thin layer of dead and decaying plants and animals. For example, if we go to the forest, when we visit to the forest, we'll see that so many leaves shading or dropping on the floor, forest floor. Forest floor is nothing but upper layer of the soil. So not only these leaves are dead and decaying, both plants and animals also will observe on the surface. So these things before, like after the second process is nothing but decomposition. Leaving about the decomposition, these plants and the animals, with what they'll do, they'll decompose and they convert into humus on the surface. This is nothing but a layer of the dead and decaying plants and animals. They converted into humus. This humus will help the plants to provide sufficient nutrients, and they penetrate to form taking many years, ages to get the fossil fuels. That is secondary, but we are only discussing about the top surface of the soil. Top surface of the earth crust is nothing but soil.